Welcome back to Casper at the Movies. I'm Jeff, and this is Casper, the best father and son duo to ever break down movies where balloon animals hunt you for sport. Say hi, Casper. Good boy. Today we're heading straight into the neon-sewed cotton candy nightmare that is Killer Klowns From Outer Space from 1988. One of the strangest, boldest, most enduring horror B movies ever made. And we're not just talking about the movie. We're talking about why it works, why it stuck, and why nearly 40 years later we still don't have a sequel even though it feels like one should have been inevitable. So grab your acid pies, load your cotton candy ray gun, and follow us into the big top spaceship. Has there ever been a title so perfectly honest that it barely needs a synopsis? Killer Klowns From Outer Space. That's the movie. That's the pitch. That's the entire vibe. The film was created by the Chiodo Brothers, Charles, Edwin, and Stephen, legendary creature effects artists best known at the time for their work on Critters. But unlike Critters, where they were mainly builders and puppeteers, Killer Klowns was their movie. Full creative control, full commitment to the bit. Originally, the movie was just called Killer Klowns, but producers worried people would think it was a slasher. So they added From Outer Space to make sure audiences understood. No. These are sci-fi clowns, which honestly doesn't make them feel safer. The setup couldn't be more simple. A small town, a mysterious circus tent in the woods, and an alien race of clowns who abduct, cocoon, and eventually consume the locals. We open with an old man and his dog discovering the tent, and within seconds, the dog is snatched like a Looney Tune gag. That moment tells you everything you need to know. This movie is dark, but it's playful, it's violent, but it's silly. And it commits to that balance without apology, which is harder than it looks. Killer Klowns From Outer Space is pure slapstick horror comedy, and it never pretends otherwise. It doesn't wink at the audience. It doesn't apologize for the premise. Instead, it leans into it with total sincerity, like a novelty joke shop that just happens to be stocked with corpses. The clowns kill people using acid pies, balloon animal trackers, shadow puppets, crazy straws, and cotton candy cocoons that quietly implies something way darker than the movie ever spells out. Because here's the thing, this movie is way more disturbing than it lets on. Those cocoons? They're basically rotting people until they're ready to drink. That's horrifying. And the movie never explains it in detail, which somehow makes it worse. The reasons these clowns endure isn't just the effects, though the effects are incredible. It's because clowns already live in a weird space culturally. They represent innocence, childhood, fun, but also predation, performance. Something's off. Killer Klowns weaponizes that contradiction. These aliens hide behind something familiar and approachable. They look goofy. They look friendly, and the moment you let your guard down, they kill you. Candy-coated horror with a razor blade inside. Casper doesn't trust them. I respect that instinct. Another reason the movie works, the human characters take the situation seriously. Mike and Debbie aren't idiots. They don't run away and hide. They actively try to warn people. Officer Dave Hansen listens even when his partner Curtis dismisses everything as a prank. John Vernon's police chief is hilarious, but he's also a perfect throwback to the stubborn authority figures in 50s sci-fi movies like The Blob, which this movie very clearly draws from. And once the clowns hit town, the movie basically turns into the final act of Gremlins. Pure chaos, pure anarchy, clowns everywhere. One of the biggest reasons Killer Klowns still holds up is its commitment to practical effects. No flashy CGI, no over-editing, real suits, real puppets, real timing. Even Clownzilla originally meant to be stop motion, but achieved using forced perspective in a massive rubber suit. But the version we got still kicks clown candy ass. This movie feels tactile, it feels handmade. It feels like something that shouldn't exist, and that's exactly why it does. The wild part is, when Killer Klowns came out in 1988, it wasn't a hit. It played in limited theaters and didn't make much noise. It quietly vanished into video store shelves, and then over decades, something happened. Word of mouth, late night cable, sci-fi channel movie marathons. That's where I came in. Look at this shirt. It is so old. And then a grassroots cult formed. Today, haunted houses, video games, merch everywhere. 2 Halloween horror night mazes, vinyl soundtracks, Funko Pops, life-size animatronics. Killer Klowns are everywhere, which brings us to the question, why haven't we gotten a sequel yet? The sequel was planned almost immediately. The Chiodo Brothers saw franchise potential right away, but the movie wasn't a big enough hit then to justify it. And later, when the fandom exploded, legal issues, budget disputes, and studio hesitation kept killing every attempt. In 2018, a legacy sequel was officially announced for sci-fi. It was called The Return of the Killer Klowns From Outer Space in 3D, which is pretty awesome. They were in talks to make it, but the deal fell through thanks to Disney buying 20th Century Fox. Also, Sci-Fi wanted to make it for $2 million, the same budget as the original 30 years earlier. Stephen Chiodo said no, And the project died and has been in a cotton candy cocoon ever since. Now this part hurts because the sequel idea was actually great. Set 30 years later, Mike Tobacco returns, not as the lead, but as an Obi-Wan style mentor. The invasion spreads to a new town. Some clowns survived the explosion. The popcorn larvae were left behind. There was real mythology here. Plans for multiple sequels, a TV series, spin-offs focused on surviving characters. Netflix even discussed a show. Nothing happened. Here's the thing though, the Chiodo Brothers are still open. They still want to do it. They're open to collaborating with new filmmakers. And look, I know I'm a director, I'm a producer, I'm an editor, and I've got a kick-ass idea for a sequel. Casper knows it. Charles, Edwin, Stephen, watch my South by Southwest short film Neil here on the channel. Call me. Let's talk. Most recently, in April 2025, it was announced that a remake is in the works at Amazon MGM Studios with Ryan Gosling producing? Yeah. Ryan Gosling would make a terrific Clownzilla. Just look at him. He's got the face for it. Killer Klowns From Outer Space is more than just a joke title. It's a reminder that horror can be silly, surreal, and genuinely imaginative without losing its teeth. It didn't get its sequel when it should have, but its legacy has never stopped growing. Never say never. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and the clown nose and subscribe. We'll be back soon with another movie unless we get trapped in a cotton candy cocoon.